Ok, let's go.
Qu'est-ce que tu fais? Chérie, shoot.
Okay, good morning and good afternoon, everyone today. Hope everyone is doing well. This is Bo O'Brien again from Yes Education. I welcome all of our partners today in Australia, New Zealand, Southeast Asia, and China as well, to this really interesting webinar that we have planned for you guys today. We've been getting a lot of interest from you guys about ESSEC Business School. It is one of the leading schools from Europe, and we all know that you've been wanting to hear about this one. So we've got a special presentation today from ESSEC Business School. So as you know, it's a world-leading school with French roots that really prides itself on excellence, on its excellence and its distinctiveness in the world. They currently have bachelor programs to master's programs to PhD with Master of Management and their Global MBA being two of their flagship programs. And at the core, really, ESSEC aims to empower students and give them the keys to imagine, create, lead, and have a positive impact in the business world once they graduate. So ESSEC also has campuses in France, Singapore, and Morocco, really interesting locations that allow students to really immerse themselves in the different countries that they go to and really learn about the business landscape where they go to study. So I'll pass it on. So we have Sonia, Anik, and we have Johnny from ESSEC Business School today. So we'll be doing a little bit of a longer presentation than we do normally. There's quite a lot of content to get through. We're going to be going through their master's programs and some bachelor programs as well. And like normal, we will have a Q&A at the end of the session as well. So if you have any questions, be sure to put the questions in the box as you do normally. Our speakers today will do their best to go through all of the content in the time that we have. Let's welcome our presenters now. So we have Anik, we have Sonia and Johnny. How are you all doing today?
Hello.
Hello, how are you doing?
Good. I cannot turn on my video because
that's fine.
Okay.
Don't worry, no problem, Sonia. And
Perfect.
how about you, Johnny? How are you doing?
Hey, hello everyone. I'm Johnny here. So very happy to join to this session and sharing our programs to you guys.
Thank you so much. That's great. So I think we'll start with Sonia first with the master's programs. So I'm gonna allow you to share your screen,
Okay.
and then I'll let Johnny be able to do that too. Yeah. So yeah, thank you, Sonia, for your time, and I'll pass it on to you now to start off with the master's programs at ESSEC Business School.
Perfect. Thanks everyone. Hello. Can I quickly check where are everyone's from today? Like roughly.
Yeah. So
what's
everyone's from I can see from Vietnam, Indonesia, Malaysia, and in Australia too. So we have some partners in Sydney and Melbourne that focus on study abroad, and some of their students study bachelor in Australia, and they'll be looking for options after their students graduate in Australia. So obviously ESSEC being a big consideration of theirs too.
Right. I've seen some familiar name. So hi, if I've met you before, and if not, nice to meet you all. So without chit-chatting too much, let me jump into my slides. Then I'll give a very quick introduction about ESSEC in general. Myself, I manage all the pre-experience master programs in ESSEC. That means students do not need to have work experience prior to applying to these programs. So I think, you know, I will go through briefly most of them. And then if there's questions, of course, I can answer later on. And then I'll also introduce or pass on the presentation to Anik and Johnny. They will talk about the BBA and then the MBA program in ESSEC here. So
fantastic.
Okay. Can you all see?
Yes.
Okay. So like Bo has introduced us earlier, ESSEC is a global business school with a French roots. Originally, we are from France in Paris. So if you have not heard about ESSEC, we have actually quite a long history, over 100 years of teaching experience in Europe. And then eventually we have made our way outside of France into Singapore and Morocco. ESSEC has been in Singapore for over 15 years. If you have visited Singapore, we are in One North, one MRT stop away from NUS. So if your students or parents are asking where ESSEC is in Asia, we are in the heart of the Silicon Valley in Singapore. So very near of a lot of startups and research hubs in that area. So ESSEC as a school, if you not have heard of who we are, what we do, I also want to highlight the fact that we have trained a lot of high-level alumni or executives in various industries. So leveraging on their experience, I want to show a snapshot of where they are, our past graduates. These are the more senior ones, of course. And then there are also some younger ones I have prepared later on. So for example, like the managing director of DBS Bank, as well as the McKinsey in Singapore. And then you also see a lot of FMCG like Unilever, L'Oreal, Coca-Cola. We have alumni in many different industry. As well as finance, ESSEC has one of the best finance programs in the world. So you see a lot of familiar names like Merrill Lynch. Also, we have many speakers that we invite from into ESSEC who are currently, in most of the investment banks like Goldman Sachs, Morgan Stanley, etc. For example. So this is the presentation for master. So actually, I took out the BBA ranking. Sorry, Anik, but then she'll bring those back in later on in her presentation. So a highlight of ESSEC, we are one of the graduate school focused in business. Even though we have an undergraduate program, we have a wide range of master degrees, and very proud of what we have achieved. In the past years, ESSEC has been traditionally consistently ranked very well in the international ranking, such as Financial Times as well as QS. So under the management program, finance program, data science program, we are pretty much ranked number 3 and number 4 in the world. And with a campus in Asia as well, which put us in Asia number 1 in this ranking. So many of these programs, students can choose, for example, to start their study in France or in Singapore. And they will also have an option to rotate and exchange between the campuses for some of them. So typically the ESSEC master is very short and intensive. The curriculum is roughly 8 to 10 months that students will be spending on campus. And then after that, it will be following by an internship. So similar to other local universities in Singapore, like National University of Singapore, NTU, SMU, ESSEC students pass will allow our students to work in Singapore without a sponsorship. So unlike other private schools, your students who come to Singapore or go to France, they will also be able to get quite easily work experience together with their study while they are in ESSEC. So that is one of the, I would say, one of the biggest advantage for international students to explore this area. So of studying in ESSEC. So a very quick overview of what the school in terms of our size and our program, the breakdown of the students. We have over 62,000 alumni at the moment. In Singapore, our campus is much smaller comparing to France. So the campus has about 400 students at a time. So for those who want to have a closer relationship with the staff and faculty and having a safer environment, Singapore is really an excellent choice to start the program. And then it's up to the students if they would like to rotate to France or not. So usually that's up to them. Right now, only ESSEC and another French school, INSEAD, you may have heard of, having a full-fledged campus in Singapore or in Asia. So, well, in Singapore. So in that way, most of our resources are available in Asia as well. So it's a gateway for European students who want to come and work in Asia, but also for Asian students to leverage fully on what we can offer as a school. So for example, we have our own career service team, as well as alumni service, as well as our own marketing team to support the students who study here. So ESSEC as a group, no matter which campus you choose, you have all the resources available for the student. So there is no difference between applying to France versus applying to Singapore in terms of admission, in terms of the student status, and similarly in terms of tuition. So here's a very quick view on how our students are doing after the program. So the range of salary when they graduate, it is very impressive, I would have to say. So keep in mind these BBA and the Master in Management and Master in Finance are fresh graduates. So most of them do not have a lot of prior experience, mostly internship when they complete the ESSEC program. So they would be really, the average salary, for example, is around 80,000 Singapore dollars when they graduate from the course. And then of course, MBA has a lot more work experience, and then I'll leave Johnny to talk about that later on. So what makes ESSEC special? ESSEC follow a learning method called learning by doing. So we are definitely focused a lot in the application of knowledge. So students, when they join the program, there are many things that to design to help them practice, to apply what they learn in the classroom in real life settings, not only business cases, which most business schools are nowadays using, but also there are a lot of games, interactive seminars, a lot of projects, hackathons, a lot of conferences to introduce the real life experience or to get the students the exposure to meet employers or someone who is already working in that industry, to learn from the practitioner. So for example, on campus, we are hosting a number of companies, not only European companies, but pretty much from Asian-oriented company, MNC, to SME, to allow students to get to know a little bit about what they do. So for the marketing program right now, we are working with, our students are working with, for example, L'Oreal, Giorgio Armani Beauty, as well as Decathlon, so which is a sports companies. And then we have consulting companies or consulting projects working with, for example, Heineken, as well as Johnson & Johnson. So there's many projects that is available for students, even though they may not have a lot of work experience. We'll make sure that we give those experience to enrich their CV. By the time that they graduate, they will have a good experience to share and hopefully secure their internship and their first job as quickly as possible. So I think this is probably the most important part. And I have pretty much basically summarized all the programs and the differences. So as I mentioned, I'm not going to go into too much details. There are a lot to share for each program. Each of them are very unique on its own, but then to give you an overview, and you'll find this later on also if needed. So pretty much it shows you the breakdown of each programs, which campus is available, and some of the restriction and the entry requirements. So I'll go through each of them, for example, here. So as I mentioned, all these programs are pre-experienced. That means students do not need to have work experience prior to applying. Most cases, students can start application in their final year in their undergraduate degree. So if it's a 3-year bachelor, they can start in the 3rd year. And then in the 4th year program, they can start in the 4th year. So master in finance, master in management, data science, strategy and management, as well as marketing. So most programs available in both Singapore and Paris, except for the marketing program, because the marketing program in France is actually taught in French. So unless you have someone who can speak fluent French, we don't recommend promoting the marketing program directly. Then it's really no difference between the two campuses in terms of the curriculum and the structure of the course. Some of the program, the track may be slightly different because between campus, they offer some electives in one and some, not. So for example, in finance, we have 3 specific specialization: financial market, corporate finance, fintech. In management is really unique. I would say probably for the one of the more popular region for this program is Vietnam and Australia, for example. So this program, it's available for any students, any academic background. So when they apply to the program, they don't really necessarily have business experience. That's the same for all programs. However, this particular one will allow students to choose later on when they join the program. So they will go through a range of core courses, and then if they realize they would like to pursue a career in, for example, luxury brand management, they can choose a specialization in that. ESSEC has over 200 different electives and 40 different specializations available at the master level. So this one is very much a buffet that it offers many different experience for the students, from exchange programs to double degrees to many different specializations that's available. Then data science, we have 3 majors. So as you see, data science, business analytics, and digital strategy. This program is a partnership between ESSEC and an engineering school in Paris. So because of that, students must start their degree in Paris. Later on, after 6 months, if they would like, they can rotate to Singapore, or they can choose an exchange program to Hong Kong with HKUST. For strategy management and international business, this is also one of the shorter programs with 3 different specializations available: consulting, strategy, and digital transformation. And then the last program is the marketing program that we have 2 specializations available, or 2 focus available: digital marketing or luxury brand management. So it depends on what the students would like. If they have something, let's say usually if they have a very clear direction or career goal, we would recommend to choose the specialized program. If they have not, still not very sure what they want, then I would recommend the management program. So an overview of the tuition fee and the duration of the program. So as you can see, most of these are shorter except for the management program. With one exception, which is if someone or student has a 3-year bachelor degree, they do need to join a 2-year track for the finance, data science, and strategy program. So I think the easiest way to evaluate your students is to contact me directly after you have the CV, then I'll be able to explain, the details. Generally in ESSEC, the master level do require Gmat, so I would say that's probably one of the most important part is the academic strength of your student. I know a lot of the students find this quite difficult, so I would say ESSEC is definitely a top tier school. So if someone who are interested in pursuing ESSEC, we are very happy to help you nurturing that candidates or that students. Generally, the average of GMAT is quite high. If you can see here, it's about 690 or 640 for the strategy program, with the exception of the marketing course. So this is the only program that ESSEC does not require GMAT. Otherwise, everything else is mandatory, even though students have excellent GPA as well as sometimes CFA level 1 or 2 already completed. But this is for, well, as well as the English requirement, just to I put it here, 6.5, 95 in TOEFL as 815 in TOEIC. This is, however, can be exempt if a student study in the English taught program. So if they study, of course, in an English speaking country, as well as the local university, but in an international track. So let's say if someone study in Indonesia, but then they have a English taught program, this is waived, the English requirement. Then some of the more exciting fun facts of the programs is the external exchange. A lot of students are excited about, leveraging on these things. So ESSEC is a, we work with one of the best universities in the world. So we have many exchange partners and double degree. The full list is available on the website and the brochure, but to give you an overview, students have the option to, for example, choose one of the best schools in each country to either exchange or to pursue a double degree. In this case, for the management program, example of UC Berkeley is a dual degree. Peking University in China is a double degree options. And we also work with, for example, LBS, London Business School, or King's College, There are many options for students who are really exploring international experience. They don't have to limit themselves in Asia and Europe, Singapore and France. They can go beyond if they would like to. Here, highlights of the fact for really good students, scholarship is available. It can be up to 50%, and it will not, really affect your commission. So if you do see motivated students, definitely, especially from Southeast Asia, we have a diversity scholarship that's available based on the nationalities or the experience of the students. So if they are able to get admission into ESSEC, the chances of getting scholarship from us is also quite relatively high from the region. Internship. So as I mentioned, internship is it's a backbone of all the programs that we have. We want to give students experience, and most of these experience are paid. ESSEC students don't work for free. So depends on what industry and what function they do. The internship varies from 1,000 Singapore dollars to, I have heard, 8,000-9,000 Singapore dollars a month if they're going into a banking industry, working for one of the investment bank for summer internship. So these are supported by career services. We have a very extensive career service training program that students will start right away from the orientation week to prepare them, to get them ready for, start their internship 8-9 months after entering the program. So the starting salary is here, and then this is a little, calculation that I did. Probably it's a little, you need to take it with a pinch of salt. Average time to break even. So I always want to highlight the fact that ESSEC has one of the highest ROI in our programs. If you look at tuition fee, we are very, in a way, we are in the average among all the business schools tuition standard, but our students definitely has one of the highest salary when they graduate from the program. So if you look at the tuition fee for example, the finance program, how much students are spending in 1 year of living expenses, for example, and the average salary that they are earning when they graduate, which, most students will be able to pay back their tuition within a year of graduation. So for parents who are considering, or comparing options, this is something that I would highlight to them, that this is a very good investment choice for the student's career. Next, these are all the career statistics. If you need the information are there. ESSEC is one of the best business school. So we do receive many good names or companies that are best in their industry to come to campus for recruitment purpose and to offer career talk, meeting our students. So some of the information that you can see. I'm not going into details, but something that I want to highlight, for example, other than what I've just said, the internship students also receive a study trip during their course. That is part of the curriculum. So usually we will bring the students outside of Singapore or France or Paris to allow them to meet with alumni and to connect with companies in that region. So many students use that as an opportunity to meet and do interview while they are on these study trips. So for the finance program, students will have options to go to London, Hong Kong, as well as New York. So that's one of the plus, if you're not interested in a long-term exchange, then the study trip is like a week of exploration for students to bond together, as well as increase the chances to get international employment. So I already covered the career services, what they do. For those who are interested, ESSEC is always also one of the very few schools that have our own incubator. So ESSEC Ventures is there to support students who are very entrepreneurial, who want to start their own startup. So those are also students. So I manage the Southeast Asia region for ESSEC master recruitment. So I've highlighted a few of the students from this, region to give you an idea what the student life it would be like when they join ESSEC. So this case, Supita is from Thailand. She joined the Singapore campus for the management program back in 2017. So in her program, basically, she will have a consulting, junior consulting experience, which is a project that allows the students to right away work with MNC, an NGO, as well as a SME, to give them, to throw them right into the water, basically to allow them to practice while, figuring out what is lacking and how to maximize the experience in ESSEC. So in that year, they have worked with, for example, Johnson & Johnson, as well as NGO in the Philippines. They travel to the Philippines and to coach a local social enterprise on how, to increase or their productivities and to maximize, what they're doing. And then students will do one of the specialized track. Usually, if you start in Singapore, the curriculum is about half a year to 9 months long. And then during her time there, she managed to secure 3 different internships, 2 in Singapore and 1 in France. She ended up choosing the one in France and then went to France, worked at L'Oreal for 6 months before she started her curriculum in Paris in ESSEC. So while she was there, she also joined one of the chair, which is a research project that ESSEC worked with many different industry to provide industry insights and experience for the students to get to know, what they do. So obviously from this profile, you see, she's very interested in working in marketing and luxury industry. So she did a LVMH chair with working with Louis Vuitton, mother company. And then she also did an internship with Christian Dior while she was there finishing her program. So this takes it took about 2 years for her to complete the program. After she finished her internship in Paris, she managed to get a full-time job in Singapore and then moved back to Singapore and receive employment pass and working in Singapore full-time right now. So this is a very typical experience, I would say, of our management students. Many of the, for example, Chinese students who study in Australia love this program. So we do have a lot of application for that particular group of students. So if you have some students who are interested joining a longer program, Master in Management is one of the best management program internationally. So I have also, highlights of the Indonesian students because I just did a presentation for someone else in Indonesia. But pretty quickly, I have picked one student from each program to highlight, what a typical career or in these cases, what they where they come from and what they do afterwards. So Fajar is Master in Finance. He joined ESSEC from UGM. If you're Indonesian, you probably know this school. He did not study finance when he joined. He studied political science, actually. And then once he completed the finance program, in Paris, he got an internship in Singapore with Standard Chartered, and he moved back to Jakarta now, working at Bank of America, Merrill Lynch. And then Jaislyn and Casa, for example, is a student in the strategy program in ESSEC. She did her undergrad in NUS in Singapore prior to joining ESSEC, and she actually received her internship at Apple in Singapore and have been working there full-time for the last, I think, 3 years now as a regional planner. Then we also have other students who are in the marketing and the management program. So for example, Bagas is Indonesian students who study in the US, but then she joined the program in marketing. And then instead of finding an internship, he actually secured himself a full-time job. So that's also something that is recommended or available for all students. If they manage to find a full-time job, they can actually skip the internship. So that makes the opportunity cost really quite low because they are only studying or not having a full-time income for 8 to 10 months to complete the master degree program. So in this case, he started working right after his curriculum at Gbbs Singapore. And then Hilda, in the management program, that's slightly longer. So she's still in the program currently. She started in Singapore, had an internship with Louis Vuitton in Singapore, went to Paris, and then now doing an internship in Louis Vuitton. Then we will see where she graduates and where will she go afterwards. So general admissions, ESSEC has 4 rounds of application deadline. Our window opens from August until end of April, except for the strategy program that is still available until June. So it's much longer than most schools. So if you have someone that are interested, it's still very much available until there's still enough time to apply for the program this September this year. So the application is very standard, pretty much from getting the documents ready and then having the score required. So except for marketing, Gmat, GRE. And then most programs will not require an interview. So only the management program will require interview in ESSEC. So that's pretty much it. That's my part. Questions so far?
Thank you, Sonia. Very good. And so impressive to see some of those former graduates at ESSEC. They're doing really, really well, off doing fantastic things. So I guess now we will we'll do the questions at the end, Sonia, after everyone has spoken.
Okay.
So if everyone if everyone does have questions, just put them in the box and we'll get to them at the end. So I guess now we'll pass it on to Johnny.
Yeah, hi, Boo. I think maybe Anik first.
Okay, sure.
Yeah,
no problem.
bachelor degree, I think is the more popular in the region.
All right,
so Eva
no
do
problem.
the last. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, then Anik, we'll pass it on to you. Then we'll finish off with Johnny. Anik, you're on mute.
Hi everyone. Can you see my full screen slide now? Hello?
Yeah, we can see you.
Yeah, we can hear.
Okay, great. Okay, so thank you to both for organizing this session, and thank you everyone for taking the time to be here for our webinar on ESSEC. So I am Anik, the program manager for ESSEC Global BBA. So ESSEC Global BBA is the only undergraduate program that we have. And so it is targeted at high school students who are completing their high school studies. Okay, so Sonia, well, she gave a good overview about ESSEC. So I will now jump straight into the Global BBA. So the Global BBA is a 4-year program where the students have a good foundation of all the disciplines in business. Like in the first 2 years, they learn all the foundations of business, like marketing, management, finance, accounting, supply chain, entrepreneurship, etc. And then in the last 2 years, then we have an option of taking electives. So for example, if they have a particular interest in finance, then they can take more modules in finance. So now why join the Global BBA? So this is our USP. So the Global BBA is the #1 BBA in France, according to Le Point and L'Étudiant. And consistently, our Global BBA has been ranked first in France. And as you may know, for undergraduate degrees, there's no international ranking. But what we have is the local ranking, and we are first in France. And then ESSEC overall is the sixth business school in Europe as per the Financial Times. And we are also in the top 6% in the world for business and management studies. So all of these tell you about the excellent quality of education at ESSEC. Now, about the Global BBA, we prepare our students to be global business leaders. And as Sonia mentioned, so internship is a core component and a key differentiator of our programs. And the GBBA students, all of them do at least 10 to 16 months of global internship. So the students choose where they want to do the internship and what kind of job scope, in which country, in which company. And our careers office is here all the while as from year one to help our students in their professional journey. Then all students do at least one semester of a global exchange or double degree. And we're very proud to have over 170 exchange and double degree options. And there's also the inter-campus mobility option, where students can study at various campuses. So for example, if a student starts his studies in Singapore campus, during his studies, he can go to our campus in France or Morocco to pursue his studies. So all of these components truly give our students a significant global exposure, preparing them to be global business leaders. And to equip our students further, we provide language courses on campus. So first there's business English, and then there's French for those who are non-native French speakers. And then students can choose a third language. At the Singapore campus, we offer like Italian, Chinese, and Japanese, etc. And then students have the flexibility to customize their global curriculum. And in fact, this is another key differentiator of our program compared to other universities in Singapore. Like many students will tell you that for the local universities like NUS, NTU, and SMU, the curriculum can be quite rigid. But here at ESSEC, we give students the flexibility to customize their program according to their career aspiration and personal preference. So let me share more about the customization part. So first of all, the study plan. So there's the first cycle, which consists of year 1 and year 2. And in year 1 and year 2, the students do all the foundation modules across all the business disciplines. And then the interesting part, the students need to decide first of all where to start their studies. Is it at our campus in Singapore, or is it at our campus in France? And in both campuses, the courses are conducted in English. And in France, there's also the option to study in French as well. So suppose the student decides to start in Singapore. So this means that in year 1, he will be at the Singapore campus. And then during the summer, he will do a 3-month operational internship. Then in year 2, he has the option of doing an inter-campus mobility, meaning that for 1 semester, he can choose to go to our campus in France or Morocco. Oh, and just bear in mind that in Morocco, the courses are conducted in French only. Then the student ends year 2 with a 1-month social internship. So the social internship is where the students go out and help the community. Like we had students who flew to India to teach English to the disadvantaged children. So the goal of this social internship is to help the students to build empathy, to become global business leaders with empathy. And we all know that now as consumers, they place a lot of focus on CSR, corporate social responsibility, and that this is a gauge, sometimes this is a gauge whether they decide to use the services of a particular company or not. Now, in the second cycle, consisting of year 3 and year 4. This is where the student has the option of customizing his degree. So first of all, he has the option of taking electives. So if he finds that he's more inclined towards finance, then he can take more finance modules. And then second, he needs to choose the pathways. And here we have 3 pathways, the 6-month exchange, 1-year exchange / double degree, 1-year apprenticeship. So across all these pathways, there are 3 components, the international exchange, the managerial internship, as well as the studies at ESSEC campus. And the difference is how much time does the student spend in each component. So for the 6-month exchange, the focus is on, for the 6-month exchange, it means that the student will do 1 semester on international exchange, and subsequently, he has more time to study at ESSEC campus. For the 1-year exchange, then it means that the focus is on the exchange component. The student spends 2 semesters on international exchange and subsequently has only 1 semester at ESSEC campus. And then there's, of course, the double degree. So we have partnership with 10 select partner universities. And if the student does a 1-year double degree at select double degree partner universities, then he obtains another degree from the partner university. So this is quite impressive. And then for the 1-year apprenticeship, the focus is on the managerial internship, where the student does 1 year of managerial internship. And the advantage here of this 1-year apprenticeship program is, of course, the student gets more professional experience, 12 months during year 3 and year 4, compared to 6 months in the other pathways. And then it's also an agreement between the student and the company. So the student works for 12 months in the company, and the company funds the students' studies during year 3 and year 4. So during the last 2 years, the company will fund the tuition fees of the student. So there's the financial advantage and also the advantage of gaining more professional experience. So this is a sample of how the component can go by, but the student has the option of like starting his managerial internship first and then doing the exchange and then doing the coursework at ESSEC. And then we have another pathway, the International Business Education Alliance. So this is for those who really want to maximize the global exposure. It's a partnership between ESSEC and 3 other top business schools. So each university, there are 4 of them, each university selects about 10 to 11 students. And then together, this cohort of 40 to 45 students travel the world together. So together, they will do the exchange at University of Mannheim, Germany, and then they will go to University of South Carolina in the US, and then to FGV Bba. Oh, ESSEC and then FGV Bba. So here you will have a snapshot of exchange partner universities. We have over 170 of them across the world. And I am sure that you recognize some names, like we have University of Michigan in the US, King's College London in the UK, and US Singapore, Tsinghua China, Yonsei University, Korea. And here are our double degree partner universities, meaning that when the student does his exchange, double degree at one of his select partner universities, then he will obtain a degree from that university as well. So there are some big names like Peking University in China, Shanghai Caotong in China, Keio University in Japan. So this is Kevin. Let me share with you his journey so that you can have a better idea also how our students customize their global journey. So Kevin is from Singapore, and he completed his high school studies at Raffles Institution Singapore, which is one of the premier schools in Singapore. And he's now working as a business analyst at FDM Group Consulting Singapore. So Kevin is from Singapore, and he decided to start his journey at the Singapore campus. And then he did his internship in Singapore. And then in year 2, he stayed at the Singapore campus and did his internship in Singapore. Then in year 3, he decided to do an inter-campus mobility in France. And then he did his internship at Zalora and Cargill in Singapore. And then in year 4, he decided to do a 1-year exchange at King's College in the UK. So his journey is as follows: Singapore, France, UK. Now, what about Rina? Rina is from the Philippines, and she studied at the School for Experiential and Entrepreneurial in the Philippines, and she's now working as a financial analyst in Singapore. So for her, she's from the Philippines. She decided to start her studies in Singapore, and then she did her internship in the Philippines. Then in year 2, she stayed at the Singapore campus, and then she did her internship at LVMH Singapore and also at Ashoka Singapore. Then in year 3, she did her inter-campus mobility in France, and then she did her exchange in Spain. And then in year 4, she did her internship in Singapore, and then she ended her degree at the Singapore campus. So for Rina, her journey is Singapore, Philippines, Singapore, France, Spain, Singapore. So this is what I meant by students having the option of customizing their own degree. Now, what about career services? So we have a dedicated careers team at the Singapore campus and also at Surgery campus, and they offer a whole range of services to our students, including professional career talks. So we have industry leaders coming in and alumni coming in as well to talk to our students, to share what are the latest industry developments, and they also give tips about how to enter a particular company. Then there's also the option for students to book a one-to-one career counseling session with our careers team. The careers team also conducts career workshops on resume, networking, and also how to boost the profile of a student on LinkedIn, etc. Then they also prepare students for the mock interview. The careers team also organize company visits so that the students can understand better how the industry and how the firm operates. And of course, it's also a good networking opportunity. Then there's also the annual career fair. These are some workshops that the students can attend. So as from year 1, so there's career discovery, resume and cover letter writing, internship search, interview skills, etc. Now, what about the career outcomes? So we are very proud that our GBBA graduates, they are recognized by the top employers. And in fact, from feedback, the employers, they say that they like our graduates because they are ready to contribute from day 1. And this is because the students during their GBBA studies, they had the chance to acquire significant professional experience, at least 10 months of professional experience. So these are some examples of top recruiters across different range of industries. So in finance and consulting, we have JP Morgan, KPMG. In IT, we have Google, Microsoft, Accenture. In luxury, we have Chanel, Cartier, Dior, Hermes. In construction and energy, we have EDF and Lafarge. And in entertainment and sports, we have Blizzard, Ubisoft. And in food industry, we have, for example, Danone and McDonald's. And based on the latest survey of 2019 Gbbs graduates, our graduates earn an average starting salary of $69,000 a year, which is quite competitive. And if you compare it with tuition fees for the Global BBA, so the return of investment is about 1.5 years, meaning that within 2 years, the student's salary would have covered the tuition fees invested. So a recap of why to join the Global BBA. It's due to our good renown, excellent renown. So meaning that students, the employers, they recognize the GBBA degree, and meaning that it will be easier for our graduates to get a job, to succeed in the job market. And then there's the internship component, so quite significant, about 1 year of professional experience upon graduation. And then the exchange or double degree component. And then, of course, the option of doing the intercampus mobility. And we also equip students through the language courses. And our students also benefit from a diverse student and alumni community. So for example, at the Singapore campus alone, every year we welcome about 1,000 students across all programs, represent an overall, at the Singapore campus, the students represent about 50 nationalities. So it's very diverse. And then we also have strong corporate network. And then there's also the option of the students to customize their own curriculum. So what are the profile of GBBA students? So they need to be passionate about business and motivated, of course, to join ESSEC. They need to be well-rounded, so good academic grades. So we accept a variety of qualifications, and the international ones will be A-levels and IB. And of course, we accept the local high school qualification as long as it is equivalent to grade 12 qualification. And then good grades in quantitative modules such as maths, or it can be physics. And this is because our modules are geared towards the quantitative aspect. And also our students are very active in extracurricular activities. So it can be the activities in school, or it can be part-time jobs. It can be through volunteering activities. And then, of course, since our program is very, it provides significant global exposure, so the students need to be globally oriented. So we have one intake every year in September, and 4 rounds of application. So now we are in round 3, and it is closing very soon on 8 March. So these are the dates for September 2021 intake. And for the next intakes, usually the dates will be around the same. So if we are looking at September 2022 intake, then the dates will be around mid-October 2021 for round 1. And we are very pleased to offer scholarships to the top students. We have Academic Excellence Scholarship and Regional Diversity Scholarship, and both cover up to 25% of the total tuition fees. So This is Niklas, our current student, and he's from Australia. He studied at the German International School, Sydney. And for him, what he loves about ESSEC is the academically stimulating and supportive environment, as well as all the resources necessary in advancing his professional and personal aspirations. Then there's also Eileen. She's from Indonesia, and she has been awarded the Regional Diversity Scholarship. So for her, what she loves is the multicultural learning environment, internship opportunities, global exchange program, and the structure of the Gbbs program, which gives her much flexibility. Yes, so I have reached the end of my presentation. And then, so if you have any questions later on, please feel free to ask me during the Q&A session later. So now I will pass on to Johnny, who will cover the MBA program.
Okay, thanks, Anik. I'm going to share my PowerPoint slides to you guys. Okay, so this is my PowerPoint slides. Let me start it. Okay, before the program introductions, I just introduced myself. My name is Johnny. I'm based in Singapore campus, which is same as Sonia and Anik. I'm in charge of the MBA, full-time MBA recruitment, and my cover region is a whole APAC, so which is beside Southeast Asia, Australia, New Zealand, also including China, North Asia, South Korea, and Japan as well. And so the difference between MBA program compared with a master program, that is we are looking at the younger managers. So which is that they have a certain age requirements. When the people start to apply MBA program, they must have a 3 years working experience, and the age must 25 above. And which is we are prefer student have a around 5 to 6 years working experience, age around 29 to 31. That is the best age fit for the program. So this is the something difference. And some people is confusing about MBA and a master. So for in terms of the teaching math is also a little bit different. So for MBA is more focused on the soft skills training, and which is including business trips, industry visit, mentorship program. So which is no longer focus, not really focused on academic study. It's more like learning from doing, which is through this program is able to providing the connection and providing the networking for those younger managers who are ready to change the jobs, change the function, either they want to move to a new locations. Okay, so this is a mainly difference between MBA and a master's. And let me start the presentation to introduce my program. And so this is the same, talking about the ranking about ESSEC Business School, which is already mentioned by Sonia and Anik. So I can just skip this part. And just one more thing I want to highlight about this triple crown accreditation. So currently in this world, only less than 1% of the university and the business school have all these triple crown accreditation, ASSB, AMBA, and the EQS. So which is when students looking for business schools, it's better to have all these triple crown accreditation. This is more recognized by the industry and more recognized by the different associations in different regions as well. Okay, so the history part about ESSEC Business School is the same. So I just one thing want to highlight about the Singapore campus. So which is by 2005, we get a Singapore government invitation, which is under the school global school project. So that during the same year, they have a few top business school, top university. They have a campus. They came to Singapore and set up the campus, which is including another top business school in INSEAD, and also like a University of Chicago booth, like a UNLV from America, DigiPen. So and also the one of the Australian business school, Private Business School, SBGN School of Global Management. So at the same year, all the school come to Singapore, set up the campus. And the staff on there, Isaac is in the Singapore market. And until now, in Singapore campus, we have almost 16 years history. Yeah, so this is just some briefing about Singapore campus. So that's why our students, when they study in Singapore, they have some privileges and they have some benefit which is supported by the Singapore government. For example, when they study here, either for bachelor degree or master degree, they can do part-time job, and they can do the internship during the holidays. So which is exactly same as the government university students. So this is a huge difference between us and private education. For example, like James Cook University or PSB or Kaplan, which is maybe you are more familiar. So for that school students, they are able to work in any type, so which is a government not allow. And also for our graduates, doesn't matter which program they graduate, bachelor degree, master, or MBA, they will get a 1 year long-term social security pass to allow them to stay in Singapore to look for a job. I think this is very important. So as you know, most of the private education students, when they complete the program, they will cancel the student pass immediately, and they only have a one month to 3 months white card to stay in Singapore, which is quite difficult for them to get a job if they are not really ready. It also depends on the opportunity as well. But for our graduates, they're able to apply this 1 year long-term social security pass, which is the same as government universities graduates, give them enough time to look for jobs and give them enough time to convert to switch to the work pass. So this is some benefit for you to highlight to your students. And so we have a full campus over the world, plus 1 digital campus. So for MBA program, students have an option studying France or Singapore. France, we have 2 campus, Cergy and La Défense. Cergy is the main campus, so most of the master students, bachelor degree students will study there. They have a 7,000 students there. La Défense is a financial center of Paris, which is our executive education center, EMB program. Some of the GMB program module will teach there as well. So as an MBA student, they were studying in France, both Cergy and La Défense campus, and also they have option study the whole program in Singapore. Okay, so talking about the program ranking, MBA also have a very good ranking over the world, especially in the QS ranking. By current year, 2021 ranking, we are number 2 in Asia. So followed by Insight's number 1, we are number 2. Our ranking is higher than any other Asia universities like National University of Singapore or Nanyang Technological University, which is a local university. And worldwide, we're at 27, according to the QS ranking. And according to the Financial Times ranking, we're number 13 in international experience and number 19 in terms of international mobility. So for our MBA program, the class cohort is very diversity. Each year, we only have 75 candidates, 75 participants, and they are coming from more than 30 nationalities, which is 95% are international students. Okay, so this is a summarize and for this MBA program, which is only 12-month study, 9 months for academic study, plus 3 months capstone project or internship. Depends on the track, depends on the major, and also depends on the location and companies. The program is teaching English. So French is not necessary for the program, but also during the 1 year studies, we will teach students French language as one of the subjects to help them to learn the French language. So which is good for them to speak French when they decide to work in France after they complete the program. MBA programs are all available in the 2 campuses and very flexible. So the student can choose complete the whole program in Singapore, whole program in France, or in between transfer to each other campus. So which is one program that have a 2 countries experience. Also within the program, they have a 3 to 5 countries business trips, depends on the track. And they have a more than 30 companies experience, which is including leadership talks, industry visit, and alumni sharing sessions. So which is, this is how the MBA focus. Business trip is the key of the program. So which is we have 2 tracks, digital leadership and luxury brand management. For digital leadership, they will visit Amsterdam, Luxembourg, and for luxury brand management, they will visit Italy, New York, and Shanghai. And those business trips is compulsory, so the student will go together. And when they visit the countries, they will visit most of the companies, especially for luxury, Italy, New York, Shanghai, which is the center of the luxury industry as well. And within the program, we are also build up the one-to-one mentorship programs, which is we were getting the alumni to speak to the participants to understand the networking and understand the operation in the real world, which is to help them to quickly to get a good job placement when they complete the program. And also MB is really focused on the networking, which is the true professional talks and the alumni sharings. For all the participants, they able to build up their own networking, help them to transforming themselves into a new location, new industry, and new job function. Okay, here are the topics of why people need an MBA. So MBA is the long run investment. You really cannot see the difference within 3 to 6 months, but in the long run, they have a huge difference. So which is a lot of actually organization, they are doing this ROI calculator, which is we take a sample from QS MB ROI calculator. It's a very useful tool. So for candidates, you can just log in and you can put in your information. You can choose the school you want, put the salary and put your current salary, choose the location, and also put the living expenses. And the system will help you to do the calculation, which is you can see from here, if you took MBA program with ESSEC, 10 years later, the salary difference is almost $500,000. And 20 years later, the salary increment, they have almost 2 million difference. So you can see from the yellow line is without MBA, how their salary increase. And with the blue line is the blue line is with the MBA, how their salary increase. So that's why we always mention MBA is a long run investment, and you're able to see the huge difference after 3 to 5 years. That's why we all encourage for students, you should take an MBA. It's just when either you want to take this earlier or you want to take this later. But remember, MBA also have age caps. So when your age turns to more than 33, 34, which is harder to admit for any top business school for MBA program. Okay, so here are the reasons why people to choose want to take an MBA program. Majority of the reasons they want to change to a new industry. So there have a lot of engineering or IT expert after MBA program. They will move to the strategy planning role, or they will become a consultant, work with the consulting firms. So based on our past record, 64% of the people able to change location. So after the program, they have moved to new countries to work. 61% of the people able to change job function. So they move from sales role to manager role, and move from the engineering role to the management role as well. And last, which is 80% people able to change industry. Okay, here are the reasons why people to think about as an MBA, which is we are very proud that we have 2 campuses, and within the 1 year, 1 program, student have 2 countries experience, and MBA is more focused on the soft skills training, which is a hands-on practical experience. So this is also difference between MBA and most of the specialist master. And also our MBA program is focused on accessibility, digital transformation, and entrepreneurships. And the fourth reason is our MBA is very diverse. So you have a chances to meet your classmates from over the world. You can learn a different language, different culture. That is a really fantastic journey for your MBA studies. And the last reason, which is a 1 MBA program, but have a 2 focus, which is we have 2 major for MBA program, strategy, digital leadership, and luxury brand management. Okay, so basically MBA program is a professional training program for younger managers, which is a design the program to help you switch to a new industry, to getting the industry knowledge and the skills to become a business leader in the future. Okay, here are some good samples. So how our MBA alumni look like. So I take 3 alumni. They are just recently graduated within 3 or 4 years with our MBA program. Of course, we running this MBA program more than 20 years. It's almost 20, 25, 28 years. They have a lot of business leaders already become the CEO or CFO level in most of the company. But for these 3 candidates, these 3 alumni is just recently graduated, but they already have a very good job positions. Which is the first one you can see, Pyosu Shin from South Korea. So he graduated our MBA program by 2018, and he studied the luxury brand management track, and currently he's the retail director in South Korea, which is under the LVMH group. And also the second alumni, which is Julio Chang. He's a Taiwanese, and he completed the program by 2016, and currently he works in Taiwan as a team manager under the Louis Vuitton. And the last alumni, which is Eddie. Eddie is just graduated from last year, and he become the business manager in one of the top China technology companies, Xiaomi. So he currently working in France, and he also took the program. He started the program in Singapore, so which is he spent half year in Singapore and another half year in France. Then after that, he get a job placement in France as well. So this is a typical MBA alumni and how they good in the job placement after they complete the program. So back to the intro requirements. So what kind of the candidates we are looking for MBA program? As I mentioned very earlier, they must have a 3 years work experience. So when they submit the application, they must be age 25 and above. We prefer students have some global experience. Either they have a study in the different countries, they can speak multi languages, or they work with the MNC company with the international elements. And the bachelor degree is compulsory. And some of our MBA participants, they also have a master degree. Even some of them, they have a PhD title as well. So which is the MBA program, as I mentioned, it's like a training program. It doesn't matter how is their highest qualification. Even you study PhD in engineering, in IT, but you want to switch to a new industry, MBA program is the best program to help you to switch. And this program is also requires Gmat GIE as a compulsory mandatory requirement. And if the student English bachelor degree study is not through English, they need to provide IELTS or TOEFL. So talking about the average class profile, which is age 13 and 6 years work experience with our candidates. So this is the intro requirement for our MBA program. And we have 2 major focus, luxury brand management and strategy digital leadership. So for luxury brand management, all the program we are studying in France. France is still the center of the luxury. And also the strategy digital leadership, students have all the options study either in France or Singapore or half-half. It's very flexible and which is give them a lot of different experience. Okay, next topic is talking about the fees, which is 46,000 euros for the total cost fee in Europe and 75,400 in Singapore campus, which is for strategy digital leadership track. Yeah, of course, we also offering scholarship. The range is from 15% to 35%, depend on the student profile, interview performance, and also the Gmat score. And also for all the IDEA business program, we are work with the Prodigy Finance. So this is a US-based organization. They are offering the study loan. So I believe including the master, most of the master program and the MBA program, the student, if the student have a financial difficulties, they can seek for the study loan, which is able to cover balance of the tuition fee and also the living expenses. And also in different countries, they have a campus France scholarship. So for example, Thailand, they have a French-Thai scholarship. And in Philippines, yes, also have. South Korea, yes, also have. So which is the way I recommend for your candidate, they can check with the campus funds within your country. Those scholarship is issued by the French government and able to cover the whole tuition fee. But of course, students need to get an offer first, and they need to submit the application and go through the interview process. So this is an extra scholarship is offering from government. And also for master program, they have an Eiffel Tower scholarship, which is a national level scholarship. Okay, so the last topic is talking about the admission process. Same as the other two programs, master level program and the BBA level program. All the applications through online. Students need to get the Gmat GRE ready to submit the application. And 1 year, we only have one intake on September. We have a 5 round of application, start from the previous year, October, and finish by the current year, probably end of June. So for this September intake application already start last year, October, and now we already closed round 3, which is by last month, 21st of February. So now we are in the round 4. And we have another round 4 and round 5. So for this year, admission will close by 20th of June, and the program will start by September. So either end of August or first week of the September. Okay, thank you. So this is my introduction for my programs. Yeah, maybe we can move to the Q&A sessions. Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much, Johnny, Anik, and Sonia for your presentations today. That was very informative for all of our partners here today. So yeah, I just ask everyone here that's joining with us, if you have any questions, please let me know. We'll put it in the box, and the ESSEC team will answer the question. So we've got one question here from Hastadi, and he asks, do you assist master students to prepare their GMAT in the Singapore campus?
Yeah, maybe I answer the question. Actually, we do not, because GMAT is a third-party independent test, and this is a very common test applied for all the top business schools. If you're talking about the Harvard University, Stanford, even in the UK one, London Business School, they all request GMAT, the EUS and TU as well. So yeah. We are now helping for students to prepare for the GMAT because this is an independent test, but what we can do is we can refer candidates to certain of the preparation center, and because we work with the GMAC, which is an organization for GMAT tests, very closely, and we can give you some quiz tests and some materials for you to reading to prepare a GMAT test.
Yeah, fantastic. So I wanted to ask as well. So recently, of all the students that study at ESSEC, what percentage of them elect to go on exchange to US, UK, some of the partner universities that you work with? Or do you find majority of the students want to stay in France or Singapore? Or do you find that they also, what percentage of those students do elect to take extra exchange?
I think for master, it is still a smaller number of students are still doing exchanges, I think. Obviously, it depends on the school that they want to exchange to, and like the policies and, you know, with the COVID arrangement. I know some students have, for example, gotten an exchange offer from University of Melbourne, like to Melbourne Business Schools, but because of, you know, other commitment, like decided not to go. So, but I also know, you know, one of the BBA students got a double degree offer with Peking University, and decided to do an online course with Peking University first before, you know, later going there to China. So it really depends on the students themselves and how their family, you know, idea on traveling at this moment. So from the school, there's no restriction. Like we welcome anyone who want to do it, to go on the exchange. So I have students still go to the US. So it really depends on how the length of the program and how they feel about, you know, traveling at the moment. So in ESSEC, most classes are taking place on campus. So, you know, for COVID arrangement, for example, for you guys information right now, ESSEC has always run physical classes. So even in Singapore and in France, we started in September, August. If the students are already in those, in the same city, they can come. They could have joined the courses on campus in person. But for those who are not in Singapore or in France yet, they have the option, or they have the option to do online courses. They get Zoom link for other programs that they can have the flexibilities to travel anytime they want, basically. So and the governments are quite flexible in terms of allowing students to come in. So comparing to Australia, for example, then Singapore is still much easier to enter. Obviously, there are processes, like you need to first be you need to first get the student visa, and then you will have a entry approval or to enter the country. But with the experience we have, most students did maybe a few weeks of online classes, and then they all managed to enter Singapore. And even the international students right now, they are able to secure internship, in the city. So things are still very much happening as usual. But of course, the digital format is an extra additional option for those who are a bit more conservative.
Yeah. So for some of the intakes coming up this year, when would you say is the main deadline for students to make the application?
I think the end of April is probably I would say, for majority of the program, is one of the biggest, the final deadline, for, I think, for very few, a handful of programs, like, the strategy course, for example, and it's open until June, so students can still apply till later. So from now until end of April is pretty much the key period.
This is when we need to get the applications in right now.
Yeah.
Good.
So obviously, programs that do not require Gmat, it's a lot more flexible. But for those who require Gmat, then obviously they need to start preparing for it. And if they don't have it, then it takes about I don't know, a few weeks to a few months to prepare. So, we do have some, going back to the Gmat questions, for example, I do have some Gmat vouchers that we are happy to share with potential candidates. So let's say if you have someone that is very potential and you think, has good grades in the universities, I'm happy to share one of those with you. Then you can motivate your students to apply. No string attached, So obviously, we hope by doing so, you can entice more students to apply, to take Gmat, and then if they make it with the score that we need, then obviously we would be happy to see those applications.
Thank you, Sonia. Great, fantastic. So, and in terms of going to France right now, there's no, to your knowledge, there's no restriction depending on what country you're coming from. If we had students from Indonesia or Malaysia, Vietnam going to France first, to your knowledge, what is the quarantine situation there? Would students from those locations have to? And I do understand it's a constantly changing situation, but to your knowledge right now, what would the situation be?
Anik, do you want to answer this one? I think, I mean, I'm not like 100% up to date with the quarantine requirement right now, but I think in France in general, they're not as strict as Asia.
Singapore.
Yeah. So I've heard students are doing quarantine in the dormitory, so they don't need to go into a facility. So And ESSEC has student housing available. So usually for international students, they would be staying at the ESSEC housing. So they would be just doing the quarantine there. And it's not like they are locked in the room, and as you know, it's not as stringent or as strict as the Singapore ones, definitely.
Sure.
And it's much cheaper to do it there.
Yes, in fact, students need to do the 2-week quarantine in the dormitories. So it's not mandated by the government, from what I understand, but it's mandated by the school because we place a lot of focus on the safety and well-being of the community. And then, of course, there are all the safety measures in place, like all students on campus need to wear masks and adhere to the safe distancing measures. And also have a COVID test center on campus where students can book an appointment and take a test if they feel unwell. Yes, and then in terms of courses, it's like the Singapore campus in the sense that students who want and can travel to campus in France, they are welcome to, and they attend courses physically. They have split teams in the sense that students come 1 week on campus and the other week they attend courses online.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Great. Okay, we're almost out of time, so I think we'll call the webinar for now. Once again, thank you, Anik, Sonia, and Johnny, for your time today. Application season coming up, so hopefully we have some applications coming in very soon. If we have any questions, I'll let you know.
Hi, Bill. Just a last announcement. So just now I have our ESSEC Virtual MBA Day information. So I'm putting
okay,
in the
great.
chat box. Yeah, so this is one of our virtual events. Is organized by 3rd of April. Is everything to online. And the good thing is through the 1-day experience. So we have a panel discussion. We are invite the alumni to speak to our either our staff or either our current student ambassador to do the sharing sessions. And also we have a master class. And also we have an invite GMAC, which is who organized the Gmat test. And also we invite the Prodigy Finance who give the study loan for international students. So which is I believe this is a really experienced and useful virtual day. So which is if you have any partner or students interesting,
I'll share with him.
Yeah, register. They will get online tickets and just stay at home. Everything to Zoom, to online. They will observe, they will understand the program and understand the school culture as well.
Thank you so much, Johnny. Appreciate it.
Okay, thank you, guys.
Okay, thank you, everyone.
Yeah, thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.